Manga have shaped the comic book landscape for decades, eventually affecting Western audiences and bringing classics like Dragon Ball, One Piece, Yu Yu Hakusho, and Hunter x Hunter. Manga creators like Akira Toriyama and Yoshihiro Togashi have impacted a whole new generation, but one manga artist has impacted the landscape more by serializing an iconic, currently 9-part series, Hirohiko Araki. For almost 40 years, he has shaped JoJo's Bizarre Adventure into an adventurous, strange, and wacky series. As of the time of recording this video, the JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Part 7 Steel Ball Run anime is only a few days away. In this video, I will talk about the upbringing of Hirohiko Araki, from his childhood to his inspirations to the impact of his work. Before we begin, please be sure to like and subscribe if you enjoy content like this. Hirohiko Araki, whose real name is Toshiyuki Araki, was born on June 7, 1960, in Sendai, Japan. His father was an office worker at Japan Tobacco, and his mother was a stay-at-home wife. His two sisters were identical twins and were 4 years younger than him. In his youth, Araki was bullied by his sisters. At school, his teachers falsely suspected him whenever an incident occurred. Feeling misunderstood as though he were an outsider, Araki was either in his room or his grandfather's place, where he learned of manga, movies, and art, which acted as a form of escapism. One day, a classmate introduced Araki to the very first issue of Shonen Jump, which featured a work by Ikki Kajiwara. At that moment, he discovered his true path to become a mangaka, Japanese for manga creator. When he was 8, Araki worked on his first manga. After he impressively drew a side character, his friends praised his motivation to become a mangaka. Since working on manga was not a respectable career around that time, Araki didn't tell his parents about his ambition, but did start to draw. The first manga he bought was Muyonosuke. Taking local art classes, Araki studied by redrawing manga like Babel 2 and the works of Ikki Kajiwara. Aside from manga, he was inspired by his father's collection of art books as well as the Sherlock Holmes series. Additional influences for him were the French artist Paul Gauguin and the American painter Jasper Johns. Inheriting his father's passion for films, Araki soon became a fan of spaghetti westerns and the actor Clint Eastwood, which would be the inspiration behind the character Jotaro Kujo. Around that time, Araki started listening to foreign music like Chicago, Yes, Led Zeppelin, and Bob Dylan. While attending high school, Araki submitted his work to publishers, but it was rejected. At some point, Araki submitted a one-shot called Poker Under Arms, which won the runner-up prize at the Tezuka Awards. Eventually, Araki graduated from Sendai Design College, where he studied fashion. When Poker Under Arms debuted in 1981, he began his career in manga. Araki, a fan of horror, mysteries, and thrillers, discovered the genre he had chosen. Turning towards the book Hitchcock Truffaut, Araki learned that actors would create extensive histories for their characters, methods that are informed through performance. In 1981, Araki's next work, Cool Shock BT, was published in Shonen Jump. Though it was quickly cancelled, a spark clicked with Araki and his editor. They learned about a compelling antagonist from the final chapter. Even though it only lasted for 10 weeks, Cool Shock BT allowed Araki to succeed in becoming a serial manga author. After moving to Tokyo, Araki began another manga called Bao. Once again, it was cancelled, but Araki learned that all hit series had recognizable styles. Going abroad for the first time, Araki traveled to Italy. Visiting the Galleria Borghese, he discovered the work of Italian sculptor Gian Lorenzo Bernini. Most of his sculptures were twisted and curved, expressing a sensuous pose. As the sculptures struck Araki, he discovered his own recognizable style, which involved his study of popular manga, his drawing fundamentals, and his love for pop culture. In 1987, Araki began publishing JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, starting with Phantom Blood. The reception for Phantom Blood, which ran for 5 volumes, was both critical and positive. though many people have criticized the anatomy and poses, describing them as impossible and disproportional. Shortly after, the second part of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, Battle Tendency, began serialization. The second part, running for 7 volumes, had a good reception, with some praising it for its humor and insanity. It was clear that Araki took influence from Indiana Jones, from the time period to the involvement of archaeology to the presence of German soldiers. Eventually, the third part, Stardust Crusaders, began after the conclusion of the second part and ended in 1981. According to Araki, he originally planned to end JoJo's Bizarre Adventure in a trilogy, though the series would later continue. Running for 16 volumes, Part 3 was praised. The concepts of stands were thought of as brilliant. In the late 80s, Araki met a woman named Asami. The two were at a marriage interview and eventually got married 3 months later during the end of Stardust Crusaders. She would be the inspiration behind Yukiko Yamagishi in Part 4. In 1993, the JoJo's Bizarre Adventure OVA was released and would follow the second half of Part 3. As Part 4, Diamond is Unbreakable, began its production, the inspiration behind it would be Twin Peaks, due to the story, its wacky cast of characters, and the appearance of David Bowie. Araki, a fan of music, began naming stands after songs and albums. Part 4 would begin serialization in 1994 and end in 1995, running for 18 volumes. While Part 4 was criticized due to how slow the beginning was, it was praised because of Yoshikage Kira's complexity as a main villain. Part 5, Golden Wind, began serializing after the end of Part 4 and ended in 1999, running for 17 volumes. The critiques pointed out how Araki's ability to get people interested in characters was skillful, though others criticized that the supporting cast were underdeveloped while having potential. Part 6, Stone Ocean, began serializing months after the end of Part 5 and ended in 2003, running for 17 volumes. Jolene was once called a distinctive character. While the ending of Part 6 was viewed as unsatisfying, others view it as bittersweet. Part 7, Steel Ball Run, began serialization in 2004, running for 24 volumes and rebooting the series. Araki decided to turn JoJo's Bizarre Adventure into a monthly series on Ultra Jump, mentioning that it suited him better. This allowed Araki to incorporate things that he would not add in Shonen Jump. Viewers stated that the relationship between Johnny Joestar and Jaru Zeppeli had a platonic friendship, and that Johnny Joestar was a positive portrayal of a hero with a disability. In 2009, Araki brought his work to the Louvre, the museum that holds the Mona Lisa. This event, called The Louvre Invites the Comics, was a turning point for Araki's career. In 2011, the 8th part JoJolion began its serialization, running for 27 volumes and ending in 2021, a good 10-year run. While it was criticized for its plot points and the introduction of the main villain, it was praised for its character development. In 2012, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure was adapted into an anime a second time, running for 6 seasons, with Part 1 and 2 being one season, and Part 7 being the latest upcoming season. In 2023, the 9th part, JoJo Lands, began serializing. As of the time of recording, there are 7 volumes of the part. Overall, Araki has influenced a whole generation of manga, from his work in Shonen Jump and Ultra Jump to the art he presented in the Louvre. And when the Part 7 anime releases on March 19th, 2026, it will mark a new beginning for JoJo fans. Anyways, hope y'all enjoyed this video. If you like it, be sure to give it a thumbs up or something like that. But yeah, I am very excited for the Part 7 anime. I do think it's perfect to reboot the series, like after the... I mean, JoJo has always been wacky, but I think it's more wacky that we're being taken to a new universe. But yeah, hope y'all enjoyed this video. Be sure to like and subscribe if you enjoy it. and I will see you in the next video. See ya.